Okay, so this is like the first time I'm actually going to be like recording with Audacity. I think I've done it before, way back when, but I think the first commentary I used the actual Adobe, which was a little weird on timing. I'm just gonna kind of just talk about it. Topic of discussion here, which would be procrastination. I mentioned that in my first actual that I'd be going into detail about this, but obviously I used a 6 minute gameplay. And I don't know how long the gameplay will be for this, or I don't know what video I'll use, but I'm sure I'll use a gameplay from Call of Duty. So, all right. Procrastination. Procrastination is the act of intentionally or habitually. I don't know if I said that properly. Habit. Let me. I might need to Google Translate that. Delaying or avoiding tasks that need to be completed by a certain deadline. It can be caused by a number of factors: low self-confidence, anxiety, lack of structure, difficulty motivating oneself to complete unpleasant tasks, rumination or becoming fixated on negative thoughts. So with that first part, I guess in reality, I guess that I've had really low self-confidence. I've cared about what people think, and I to a degree you're going to want to care, but not to the point where you don't do what you want to do. If that makes sense. Low self confidence. That's just I guess I didn't really have that. It's kind of like me hidden in the shadows and realizing that I didn't really want to voice my true opinions or be myself. And it's wild to think about because I'm turning 30 this coming year. It's 2025. But before I go into this, the reason why this video is late isn't because it probably is a major part of procrastination, but I wanted to start this YouTube channel again and actually put more effort into this channel. With that being said, I want to go into really vocabulary. I'm trying to strengthen my brain. I've been out of school for a minute, and the 10 years goes by quick. So if you're young, just keep at the education for sure, and keep your brain active. No, but the reason why this video or this procrastination video is late, and or really anything that I've wanted to do productivity wise, is I just lost my grandfather. It was kind of unexpected, but it was really I've really been grieving these past couple weeks to even a month. It's already been almost a month, 13th of January. I'm not sure when this video is going to go out. Hopefully soon when I actually record this. But I basically have been grieving. It's been difficult. Grief on top of procrastination, on top of overthinking, and I wish it was as easy as it is just to say, hey, don't overthink. It's just I don't know why. I've always had problems with that in my life, and I don't know if my come up wasn't necessarily that terrible, but it definitely could have been a lot better. But it probably has to do with a lot of reasons why I do the things I do today, which I'm trying to fix, and I'm trying to overcome the fears of procrastination, or the fears of giving a shit on what really anyone thinks. I want to make content. I've always really wanted to make content, but never had the courage or the guts to actually do it myself. I never really thought that I'd actually come out and be like, yo, hey, I can do this shit too. I thought it was just like I mentioned before in the last video, where I thought I had to show great gameplay to be even considered a legitimate or a good Call of Duty player. I would say I'm an average Call of Duty player nowadays. Sometimes I lock in and go above average, but at the end of the day, I'm not a pro level comp player. I'm not a pro Call of Duty player. At some point, maybe I was a semi-pro, but yeah, that's probably the closest I've ever gotten to that. But that trickles down to just not everything's going to be perfect. And that's a problem with me. I've noticed when making this content, is I want the best of the best. I want the best camera footage. I want the best recording. I want the best sounds, all levels to be accurate. I want the best, the way I can kind of maybe script I'm still learning how to do that. This goes back to the points where procrastination, anxiety. I do have a lot of anxiety, and that's self-inflicted, I think. It's just lack of discipline on certain areas. I'm still working through that. Lack of structure, for sure. I guess I should have had structure when I was younger. To a certain extent, I did, but that was basically about kind of doing day-to-day life, not about, hey, other productive stuff. For instance, if I want to make this actually a side gig, I have to put more effort in just thinking that, every so often I'll make a video. It's just not going to work like that. So there's got to be a lot of goals being set 2025 and actually me putting in work to actually make that a reality. But difficulty motivating oneself to complete unpleasant tasks. This is not, I don't think it's really unpleasant, but it's really hard to, I look at this it's kind of a pain in the ass to do because I haven't really figured out the best way for me to do it effectively. Because once I get started on editing and stuff like that, or get on the computer, I have ADD. I have like an attention span of a fucking squirrel, where one thing leads to another. I'm on here talking. It could lead to editing a video, being really precise, back to being picture perfect, when in reality nothing's ever really perfect. Going to that to playing games, and there's a lot of different subjects, and I'm kind of different topics I'm throwing out there for future videos that I really want to discuss, because I feel like it's a major problem with today's way of life. There's way too many options, but I think I'm being overwhelmed, and I think I get overwhelmed on certain scenarios. Sometimes I lock in and I do a lot of stuff, and it's a good session. Other times I get overwhelmed and I kind of just like stop and I go back to listening to music or play a game or watching TV. But in reality, that's not productive at all. So back to the idea. Rumination or becoming fixated on negative thoughts. I'm trying not to do that. That's like the overthinking thing, I think. It's not really negative thoughts, but I'm working on that, okay? There's some tips here that the definition or Google mentioned to me that I think everyone should obviously take into consideration if you struggle with procrastination. The tips is you got to first admit it that you have it. I for sure admit that I have it. You got to have realistic goals, not, I have a problem where I want to record everything on my PC, but in turn I record too much, and I realize when I go back to recording for 2 or 3 weeks straight and I edit anything or uploading anything, I got 2 weeks of footage to go through, and it stresses me the fuck out. That's not realistic goals at all. Eliminate distractions. That means your phone. Phones are big distractions. When it comes to just avoiding procrastination, it's kind of like just finding better structure in your life and better kind of time management on what you need to do, and being realistic. I mean, that just goes back to the realistic goals. A study group, that's one thing I've tried to do, at least with this content creation shit. A lot of people don't really want to do the same shit I want to do. It's either try to run an esports organization. I've attempted that. Tried to make a content organization, tried to do that, and I think I've fallen short of doing that. I've created a little bit of success in that department, but majority of people, they're in control of their own lives, and they really have to want it themselves. They just got to have the grit and the grind to understand, all be on the same page and kind of collaborate. I'm still trying to find that, and I hope that this YouTube thing actually brings me to the light for people that are like-minded like me, because in a sense, I have never really had that. It's always like, yes, I have friends and stuff, but when I talk about certain things that I want to accomplish, it's always pointed at you. It's a you thing, and maybe I'd definitely be helpful to find a study group, but it's easier said than done. Hopefully, I can find that. Taking breaks is another key point of avoiding procrastination. Breaks are extremely important. If you're doing something for an hour, I think that after the hour that you've locked in and you've done actual decent work, I think that you definitely need to take a 15-minute break or a 30-minute break. You need to hold yourself accountable for doing these things. Now, don't stress you out and thinking that, you should do 10 fucking projects and 10 videos and you should have done that. At that point, you're overloading yourself. You need to start with one thing at a time. Your health is extremely important. You need to eat healthy. You need to get enough sleep. I have a problem with that where I'll get 6 hours of sleep one night, 5 hours of sleep one night, and then the next, Saturday night or weekend comes and I'm getting 12. You need to have a proper sleep schedule. You need to eat healthy. And at the end of it, you need to remind yourself that you got this shit. Regardless of whatever you're going through, whatever tools you have in front of you. I've had tools for years in front of me that I've decided just to set in front of me and waste. So there's a lot of things changing in my life, so I want to stop not using these tools, and using every single tool to the best of my ability. And this goes back to not overwhelming yourself, overwhelming myself. Is just take one step at a time, really, with everything you do. Even if it's a small edit, or if it's just talking to the computer like I am right now. At the end of the day, you're only on this earth for a limited time, especially going through grief, losing my grandfather. It really puts you in perspective on how much time you actually have. Because I'm fucking turning 30 this year, and it really feels like my mindset sometimes feels like I'm still 15, 14, but I'm not. It's 15 years after that. So time does go by quick. So if you want something, you need to go and chase it regardless of what you're doing. Back to some tips to avoid that. You need to admit it. You need to first acknowledge it. Set realistic goals. Eliminate distractions. Find a steady group. Breaks are needed. You need to hold yourself accountable. You need to eat healthy and get enough sleep. And remind yourself you got this. I know I repeated that, but that would be kind of the things that I'm going to take in my daily life to improve my life and to avoid this. I don't even know what you would call it. The active intensity or habitually, I think that's the proper word. I tried to say earlier, delaying or avoiding tasks. You don't need to make a whole project by yourself. Sometimes projects takes a little time to make. So make it somewhat reasonable. Don't overload yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you overload yourself, you overthink. That causes one thing, leads into another. It's like a domino effect. Just do what you need to do, one step at a time. I might create a study group because if you're interested in trying to make content and you're still struggling with trying to make content, let me know. Hopefully we can be on this journey together. Or if you are in a group, a content creation group, I'd love to join. Just kind of DM me on any socials. I'll link my socials below. But I appreciate everyone that's watching this, and hopefully I can edit this to at least the best of my ability. So I thank everyone for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. All right, let's find out how to pronounce this word. I think I got it down, but Google can tell us how to say it. Let's see how well I fucked that up. And I think I fucked it up a lot. All right, habitually. 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 Why is that such a hard word to say? Habitually. Habitually. I'm learning. Okay.
Habitually.
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 All right, we're making some progress. Habitually. Habitually. All right, I think we got it.